And the next player is a player that, okay, admittedly, most people listening to this podcast will know about. I know this section's supposed to be about players that most people don't know about, but we can't ignore him. And that's, of course, the Moroccan midfielder, Ayyoub Bouaddi. Rono, I watched him against Brazil, and against a Brazil team that has a number of aging and maybe slow centre midfielders, I thought Bouaddi looked like a world star. Um, He's got a really interesting backstory, and you've been covering this quite a lot for TransferMarkt, and you're making us all very well aware of it. That he obviously came up through the French youth team setup, so he's played for the under 16s, under 17s, under 18s, under 20, under 21, but then made his debut for the Moroccan national team at 18 years and 7 months, and has very quickly developed into a very important player for them. And at 18 years old, Rono, I think he might be one of the most impressive and exciting midfielders at this World Cup.
Yeah, I would say as a French football fan, I'm quite frustrated, disappointed just to see him go for the another team than France. But of course, with how stacked the French midfield is, and the level that Bouaddi has shown already with Lille for the past few seasons, it makes sense that Morocco will come knocking on his door and probably attract him with more playing time early on. And so far, the bet seems to have been successful with all the pre-World Cup friendlies, and then this first game with Brazil. He's already been given a lot of responsibility, and he's shown the same qualities that he has with Lille so far. Also, like a lot of calm in the midfield. Compared to his age, you would expect probably a player of his age to, I would say, make some more mistakes, but like he's playing, I would say, above his age. Like he's really well composed, calm, really I would say already a kind of leader in the midfield in some way. Like he really dictates the pace of the game. So it's really a interesting player, and for sure, if he creates the same type of performances as he does against Brazil recently, I think that will bring a lot of attention around him for this transfer window. As in France, with already before the World Cup and for a few months now, we've had noise around interest from PSG, of course, the best team of the country. But with the World Cup exposure, I think that will bring a lot of international candidates around him also, and probably that will rise the fee even more. Because so far, with 50 million euros, I think he's surely around the most valued non-PSG players of Ligue 1. But if he really scores an impressive World Cup with Morocco, I think there's a chance that he rises even a bit more above it, above that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was just checking as you were speaking. He's already the 12th most valuable centre midfielder in the world. And when you filter that down to under 19s, he is the most valuable centre midfielder in the world. So obviously, we're huge fans of him at TransferMarkt. I have to ask you again about just to kind of a little more focus on his potential future, because I think a lot of people expect Morocco to do very well at this World Cup. They've also shown against Brazil that they can go against some of the best teams in the world. The PSG links are obvious. They're obviously linked to every decent player in Ligue 1, but he's also very heavily linked with a move to Arsenal and to Bayern Munich. What kind of situation or what kind of approach do you think Lille will take to his the interest shown in him this summer? Do you think they'd be willing to sell him? Do you think they want to hold on to him? And as you said, do you think if all three of those clubs are serious about signing him, then the transfer fee could end up being more than his market value of 50 million euros?
I think yeah, the fees will easily go quite higher than the market value we know so far, because Lille has been known for not really bargaining for their top talents. There is often been really high fees for players that really were essential to their team, and especially if there is a bit of how can I say, when many teams are fighting against each other for to sign him, that will probably bring the fee even higher. And I think it will also be a game of seeing which team can make place for room for him early on, because I mentioned PSG, but they already have quite a stacked midfield with Vitinha, Neves, Zaire Emery, Ruiz, and of course Boadi won't be staying on the bench if he joins such a team. So it's also a matter of how the team will adapt the strategy to make room for a talent like him. So I think there is a chance that the fee will be, if I had to do an estimation right now, I think that could rise to maybe 70, 80 millions easily, especially this if his World Cup is really complete, really a lot of great games. If Morocco goes far, I don't know, quarterfinal, semi-final, something like that, will probably even put Bouaddi even more on the map than he already is. And I think there's a chance that really became one of the main sagas of the transfer window. And I was just seeing that his contract runs actually until 2029 for Lille. So if he has to go this summer, that won't be for a really low fee. I think that will be on the rise.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's always certain players who seem to become kind of global stars at each World Cup, and I think Boadi is a perfect candidate for that. At this year's tournament,